All right, Tunji again from Ceasar Graphics. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to be reviewing designs from creatives like I always do every week. And I'm going to share what is working on the designs and what is not working on the design and how you can improve as a creative. All right, so sit back, relax, and keep watching. Okay, so this is the first design I'm going to critique today. And before I critique this design, all right, I'm gonna just share. I want to share something with whoever made this design. In fact, it's not only for the person that made the design; it's for every one of you. All right. Now, there's the process part of design. In fact, graphic design is a process. All right. There's the knowing what the goal of the project is before you get to your computer or to your workstation. The lack of not going through the process is what always make us spend time working on design project, and at the end of the day we end up um not creating what's going to capture the attention of the audience. All right. And another uh, um, disadvantage of not going through the process is it's going to change the message. All right, it's going to change the message on the project, and I think that is what I noticed here on this project, because the project says God Fidence, and we now have every Sunday and midweek in September. So I'm wondering why we have the helmets. All right, I'm wondering why we have the helmets and then also the board here. Okay. I'm sure that the word Godfidence means is I'm sorry, it's something related to confidence. All right. And I'm wondering why we have this and this here. In fact, these two did not really connect. Aside from that, visibility is very important in graphic design, making the information on your projects accessible, make it easy for the viewers to navigate through the information on the project. And that's the reason why the principle of design is very important in every design project. So the lack of understanding the principle of designs most time is part of what always make us find it difficult to place the element the right way. I mean, like, to place it in a way that it will be easier for people to see the information. So I'm saying this here now because of the way the designer placed the information on the board here. Contrast, all right, is important. In fact, contrast is what makes the element of design visible on your project. All right. So when you don't make the contrasts, all right, balance, it's going to affect the visibility of the content. Now, when I say contrast, I know so many of you think, okay, the only time I'm supposed to use contrast is to do something that is different on the project. No, there's the part of when you place a dark value color on a light value background. All right, there's also the contrast part of that. All right, so when you're placing your element, all right, be picturing, okay, how can I create contrast in a way that this background is going to project this information that I place on it. All right, and that's the reason why the value of color, the value of using color is very important when you are placing the elements on your project. Okay. All right, then so my advice to this person is, please, before working on any design project, do your best to know what the goal of the project is. Even if it's a fictional project, you need to write down what the projects need to do, the goal of the project. If the project did not meet the goal, that means the project is not successful. So make sure you work on that. All right. And I know most of the reason why most creatives don't care about the process part is, once we know how to use a particular effect, all right, we don't care about the process. The next thing is to just quickly make use of that effect and then apply it to the project and make the project just look the way we want it. The goal is not to create what you want, but what the client and the viewer wants. All right. In fact, the project is not for you, it's for the viewer and the client. All right. So yeah, I'm going to go straight to the next design. All right, so this is another design that I noticed that the lack of going through the process is not really active here. All right. The process part is not only when you understand the story. There's also the part of you drawing the layout. All right, drawing the layout. In fact, the drawing of the layout part is where you play with the principle of designs, where you say, okay, this information here, all right, I want them to be on the same group. Like you say, the date, the venue, I want them to be on the same group. The title should be on its own. My background should have this image, but the image should not affect the visibility of the background. And if you are now going to apply color, like I mentioned on the previous design, see how you can apply color in a way that you're applying of color, instead of it killing the project, it will help the success of the design. You know, I see creative make this mistake that this designer made here, where you echo or repeat images. You don't repeat image on your project when the information on the project did not call for it. You don't do design because, okay, you feel, oh, everything is looking too plain. Okay, let me start adding things to it to spice it up. No. Yeah, there's the part of you adding to it to spice it up, but you add what the project needs to spice it up. You don't add what you already have on the project to spice it up, except if the information on the project say, oh, do it. But if the information on the project never said do it, please avoid it. I'm saying this here now because of the way you have this repeated picture here. We have these people here, and then we now have, you know, the same picture on the background in a black and white color. No, you don't work like that. It's not always nice. All right, it's not always nice. And also, when you're playing with your title, all right, when you're playing with your title, please, you know, like what I always say to you guys, we're in a world where people don't really have that time to, you know, to waste time solving equation. All right, like solving, okay, why is this like this? No, but there's the part of you creating something that make them stop. So when you're working on design project, what you should be watching out for is how you can entertain them. I'm talking of creating a project that entertain them, that make them stop and wait and look at, okay, is this possible? And then that will now make them go through every other information on the project. But when you use your title, when you play with your title in a way that the meaning, all right, the style is affecting the flow of reading, is not going to help. I'm saying this because of the way you play with the title here. It's not balanced. All right, it's not balanced. Please, like I said previously, when you're working on design project, you don't do the design for yourself. Your goal is to focus on the viewers. The viewers is the focus. Then the other thing I notice here is the wrong placement of I've mentioned you repeating the image. All right, I'm still going to go back to it again. The wrong placement of the pictures here. This character here, I'm wondering why we have this man here and then we have these people here. All right, it's not, the connection is not balanced. The artwork says word and worship. Why do we have people posing? All right, why do we have people posing? All right, you need to please balance that. If the artwork is talking about word and worship, I expect to see picture of something that depicts word, maybe like a minister preaching, or people with hand raised, or one person with hand raised. I think that will still connect with the message. You know, I know so many of you have heard of designers creating designs that tell story. How we do this correctly is through the use of illustration. All right, through the use of visuals. We use visuals to draw people's attention to look at the project. So if the artwork is saying word and worship, you need to be able to, you need to use a visual that depicts that worship. So when people see the artwork from afar, they quickly know what the artwork is about. But with the way it is here now, you've changed the message. You didn't tell the story the right way. You changed the message. And another thing you need to also watch out for, which I noticed so many of you don't pay attention to, is, you see, when you are using visuals on your project, please, I want you to know that everything on that visual, all right, everything, every information, every details on that visual is also part of the project, guys. It's also part of the project. I'm saying this here because if you look at the face cap of these characters here, we have the Nike logo on their face cap. The direction the Nike logo is facing is wrong. So there's a sign that you flip the picture. All right. There's the side that you flip the picture. In fact, the flipping of pictures is not always professional. You don't flip people's picture. All right. You don't flip it. When you flip pictures, you are going to affect the face of the person. All right. Like we have some people that, let's say this side of their eye is a bit closer, then this side is wider. When you flip the picture, you're going to make it look like this is here and this is here. And that way you're going to change the person's look. All right. So it's not always professional to flip pictures. Don't flip people's pictures. You can flip cars. You can flip buildings. You can flip those ones away. But when it comes to pictures of characters, please, you don't flip their pictures. And even when you're going to flip cars, please pay attention to the logo. All right. If you notice that your flipping of the car affects the icon, the logo, please go back to the original look of the car. All right. So please always pay attention to the characters that you have on your project. All right. So I'm going to go straight to the last design for today. All right. Now, you see, when working on design project, guys, you see, one of the things that make a good design look successful is when you make it dynamic. So focus on making your project dynamic. When I say focus on making your project dynamic, what I'm saying is see how you can make the contrasts. All right. Make the contrasts. Not the contrast now. Like, see how you can make it's still the contrast. Not I'm talking about the contrast here, but I don't want to get you guys confused. See how you can play with the title so it looks different. Now, when I say make it look different, I'm not saying you should now affect the I'm not saying you should now affect the flow of reading, like affect the making it difficult for people to see what the title is saying. All right. Don't affect the making it difficult for people to understand your title, but make your title abstract. Make it look dynamic. The dynamic part is what makes your design successful. Then the other thing is when you're placing images. All right. When you're placing images on your project, you need to understand the story behind the project. You need to understand the message. All right. Now, the message is what we now help with knowing the type of effect you're going to apply to the visual to make it look more interesting and entertaining. All right. Now, if I'm asked to work on this project, all right, and I have this hand with a medal on it, I know for anybody to get a medal, the person might have went through a lot. Nobody gets a medal by just sitting at one place or enjoying hair conditioner. No, you have to go through the work. All right. You have to work for it. So the effect of the work need to reflect on the hand. Now, there are several ways you can do this. One of it is allowing the details, allowing more depth on the hand. Like make the pixels, apply more contrast to the pixels, so it looks as if, yes, there's this energy, there's this work on the hand. All right. Then the other thing you also need to work on is if the project is talking about winning. All right. Maybe it's talking about game like you have here, please try make it colorful, because anything game should be interesting. And part of how we depict that interesting feel on our project is by making our project colorful. Our background should not look dull. All right, your background should not look dull. Is that I use a bright background, or you use effect, like you use abstract effects to create that pattern on your background, so it projects the information on your project. I know so many of you have seen spot posters. All right, those are the type of effect, those are the type of designs that you should focus on when you're trying to design game artwork. Now, it's not all spot posters that look successful, but take what I just shared with you now and use it to search for the right spot poster. It has to look bright, it has to be colorful. All right, this part I'm about to mention is not really compulsory, but it's also part of what always spice it up. The background should have playful, patterns. All right, to create that fun. The other thing you do to spice up the project to create that fun is through your type. Your type should have that playful effect so as to create that joy on the project. There are several ways you can do this, but how you can do this well is check out designs that are related to what the project you're trying to work on. All right, see how the designers, see how they play with it, with the elements on the project to depict that fun on the project. And that's one of the reason why that's the part of the reason why I said there's the process part of design. You don't just get the elements and then you just boom apply it to the project. No, there's a part of, okay, what is the goal? How am I going to create that fun here? Okay, I'm going to make the title look this way. You can, in fact, the funniest thing is, you see, our hand work better with our brain when we have a pencil and a notepad that we are using to draw the look of our project. But when we quickly jump to our workstation or this flat board looking at me here, we limit the work that our brain can do. Okay, so don't be too fast to get to your workstation or to your computer whenever you are working on design projects. First, go through the process, get the necessary element, understand the goal. The goal should be your focus. The goal should be your focus. So if I'm designing a game artwork, I'll write down all the things that a game artwork must have. It must look fun. It must depict happiness. All right. It must I should have colors that carry more attention. All right, my image should have that depth. So those things you write down are what you are going to apply to the project to make the project successful. All right, so I'm going to stop here, and I hope you guys learned something from the review and from what I shared with you. If you have anything you want to say to me, you want me to know, please, you can drop a message. And lastly, guys, design is easy, but it's easy only when you understand it's a process and not a result. Thank you.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I'm Frederick Prosper by name. So my question is, now take for example, you were given a design job, a brief, and the brief has three not relating titles. Like, okay, let me take for example, now you're given a brief and the title of the brief states power, money, and sex, and it's a relationship
Project.
it's a relationship project. Yes.
Yeah.
So where can you draw inspirations from in terms of background, in terms of typography and layout? So like how can, because the championship design you just critique a few minutes ago, we were talking about the background, how dull it was, so now in terms of things like that, how do we work on it?
Beautiful. All right, nice. So you say the title of the project is Power, Money, and Sex. All right. And
yes.
See, before I shared what or the solution with you, please, I want to say this to you, every one of you. Please, you see, graphic design is also like when you are solving equations. All right. And when you are trying to solve the equation, you need to first put yourself in the shoe of the viewers. Like, okay, what are those things that when I see it on designs, it draws my attention? Now, this artwork is talking about power, money, and sex. How, as what I do, how can I create that feel that will make people want to get involved? Now, we have three things, three words here: power, money, and sex. One of the things that always help with making design capture attention is when you make it simple. So there should be something that you need to use that put these three together. There's something that you need to use that, that put the three of them together. So if the artwork is saying power, money, and sex, to you, what do you see power to be? So we know power to be somebody who has who control. Power is the master for the two. When there's power, there's money, then sex comes. So your focus is to pick one of the three and make it the focus. But you have to now pick one, the one with the heavy word, the one with that carry more weight. So among the three, power should be your focus, because when there's power, there's money, and then sex comes. So you need to now find a way to create the illustration or that depicts that power. There are so many illustrations you can use that depicts power. All right. One of it is placing a big stone on a small stone. All right. And if you do that, is another way of creating the unexpected. It's another way of making people go like, are you serious? You can get a big rock and then there's a small stone carrying it. When you have when you have titles like this, all right, the word with the powerful meaning is what you should, because inside money, you still see power. When you don't have power, there's no money. When there's no power, when you don't have strength, you can't have sex. In fact, another thing is when you have money, sex comes.
I said, honestly, thank you so much. This is the best answer I've had all day, because I've been asking myself a series of questions like this. So this is the best answer I've gotten. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm glad you made it to the end of this tutorial. If you have not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button, and also remember to click the post notification bell so you get notified when I post my tutorials. Share this video with other creatives. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.